I'm a spiritual medium and a targeted individual, and gang stalking started the year I reached a spiritual plateau and advanced my intuition in 2005. And a lot led up to uh, me advancing my intuition as I got sober in AA in 1985, February 9th, and I'm spiritual my whole life. I was a poet as a child. I'm still a poet, and just a spiritual person who would always feel the world around me and be in tune with things, listen to the birds, laying in bed when I was a kid. And I also channel birds. I channel God by listening to the birds. And I used to lay in bed and listen to doves and could get information from them, pick up a message. And as I'm a spiritual guru since I was born. And I channeled spirits on my angel board, or rather Ouija board, when I was 10, that I got for a birthday present. And I channel alone on it perfectly, and did that after school in my bedroom, sitting on the floor in the 6th grade. And at 18, I started studying books like Handbook to Higher Consciousness. I read astrology books, and that was just my interest. And in my 20s, I started doing I Ching readings, the Ruin readings, tarot card readings for myself. And I did a lot of readings for myself for about 10 years, from age 20 to 30, until 05 when I started doing them again on the angel board. And so I'm just explaining a lot led up to advancing my intuition and to reaching a spiritual plateau. As in my 20s, I studied many books and listening to your inner self, creative visualization, talking to heaven, the right use of God's will. And I always was reading these sort of books because that was my interest. And I did this for myself, for my own intuition in my life. And I did not know it would become my career and profession years later, and then I'd become a full medium, spirit channeler, channeling the Holy Spirits and famous people. But that is what I've done for 20 years, and I profit right for the Holy Spirits and famous people who died for 16 years. So I want to explain what led up to advancing my intuition and becoming a medium, spirit writer, prophet writer, and soon as all of that occurred, when suddenly I felt more intuitive and more psychic and reached a spiritual plateau, that's when the gang stalking started. So I'm a spiritual medium who is targeted. And so I got sober, as I said, in 1985 in Alcoholics Anonymous. So I lead a spiritual life due to that. And I read the big book every night, cover to cover. I read it every night the year I got sober. And so I started working the 12 steps right away. And I was told when I got sober in AA in 1985 not to manipulate, to check my motives, and to follow the 12 steps, to not harm others, to not judge people, to look at your part, and to be honest. And that's how I lead my life. I'm almost 40 years sober, and that is to not lie, cheat, or steal, to not harm anybody, to not manipulate, not gameplay, and to just be a good, honest person. It's sort of like following the Bible. You don't sin. You don't lie, cheat, or steal. And so that's how I've lived my life for about 40 years. As I'll have 40 years sober February 2026 on the 9th. And being spiritual is an inside job. And that is being a good person. And when you're a good person, you feel good inside about yourself. And that's what, to me, being spiritual is an inside job. And in AA, they call that being comfortable in your own skin. And so that's what I learned. And I learned I could stay sober by doing nothing wrong. Then I felt bad about nothing. Then there's nothing you want to drink over and escape from when you're a good person. I also went to other 12-step programs. When I was 3 years sober, I went to Adult Children of Alcoholics Anonymous, Healed My Inner Child, and Codependence Anonymous 12-step meetings. And I did that inner child work for 1 year. And I read Healing the Child Within and did inventories and a lot of work for 1 year, clearing out old feelings of the past, releasing them. And after that 1 year, I felt so much lighter and so much better. And that was a lot of work I did on myself in about 1988. And then I started going to Al-Anon in 1997. And I learned a lot of different things from these programs. And I learned in ACA to nurture yourself, be nice to yourself, love yourself, and that kind of thing. Codependence Anonymous, I learned make your own decisions, decide what you want to do, and how you feel about things, and don't look for others' opinions. You don't need others' validation and approval for things you do. And otherwise, you start asking everybody what they think. Do they like something? Pretty soon you're not doing what you like for yourself. So I lived by all these 12-step programs for many years. And then in Al-Anon, I learned mind your own business, zip your lips, and don't try to control or manipulate other people. And I learned that in 1997. To focus on yourself, your kids, and have a good day anyway, even if someone else is a jerk. Let them stand there and be a jerk, and try not to let it affect you. Don't take things personal. Let it roll off your back, off your shoulders, and let it go to the wind. Have a good day anyway. That's what I learned. Just because someone else is a jerk to you doesn't mean it has to ruin your day. So I live by all of these principles, and unfortunately, gang stalkers have all these character defects, and they are the ones harming others, sneaking around, stealing, vandalizing, catnapping, lying, harming others, doing everything all these 12-step programs teach a member to not do. So that has been pretty frustrating when here I live by all these principles and the 12 steps and live a spiritual way of life, to not harm others, to not judge others, to not speak ill of others, to not gossip, to have boundaries set. And what it means in the new day and age is to not be catty, and like to not be a game player, manipulator. And anyway, well, gang stalkers have all the character defects that would put them right in all the 12-step meetings by their bad behavior, and any targeted individual would understand that. So pretty frustrating that here I live a spiritual life, work hard in my spiritual programs, and to suddenly have gang stalking go on when I reached a spiritual plateau in 2005, advanced my intuition and psychic medium ability, and that's what happened. I'm a targeted spiritual medium. And so here I was, an over-honest, ethical real estate lady, and selling many homes and estates, and humble, down to earth. That's how I am. I didn't brag about things. I just treated people equally. I'm a human rights lady, and that's my personality. And so we had a life in the suburbs for 12 years until Gang Stalkers came around and ran us out of house and home. And I was just happy being a suburb mom, over honest, ethical, friendly family real estate lady, just minding my own and just taking care of my kids, selling homes, making a good living. And again, I'm not into game playing or backstabbing or gossiping, or I did absolutely nothing wrong. I didn't demean anybody. I don't criticize people. I'm just an over nice, calm, patient person. And that's how I was as a mother. An over nice, calm, patient mom. I'm sincere and sentimental, and just in AA I learned to be in the moment, be present, and I learned just cherish every moment with your kids, and that's how life was. And that's I reached a pink cloud in AA, I'd say, probably in 1990 or 1989, I would say. And I that's what they call in AA being on a pink cloud. When everything's great and wonderful and you feel good, you have serenity and things like this. And my days were just in stride, just feeling grateful and serene and spiritual, in touch with God. And I'm one who's always praying to God out loud all the time throughout the day, talking out loud to God. Like maybe I would have said, I wonder if my buyers will buy this house or that house, or um, maybe there was something I had to do. Then I'd maybe send them both houses again with an email, or this is just an example. Then I'd say, I turn it over to you, God. The results are up to you. And I always would say, God will provide. I do the footwork, do what's in front of me, turn the results over to God. God's in charge of the results. I'm powerless. God will provide. And God always provided till gang stalkers swarmed around the mailbox on a post, slandered and set me up. My life was just that way for many years. I was a costume designer in the movie business for years, and then a realtor for 10 years. And that I always made money by what I learned in AA in 1985 that they say in a lot of meetings, and that is put blinders on, do what's in front of you, the bird's in the hand, do the action, do the footwork, stay focused, just do what's on your plate, and then do the action and turn the results over to God. God will provide by the work you do. And that worked for me perfectly. And it just did. I would take the action, such as I was a costume designer. I made linen resumes. Would buy a new suit for a costume designer interview and these sort of things. And I would do all the footwork and actions to get a job on an interview, then turn the results over to God, and then get the job, money flow in, and I made a good living. And as a costume designer, I bought my first property when I was 27, a townhome in Studio City. Then we bought a house in Valley Glen in 1991, and then a house in the suburbs in 1997. My daughters and I lived there 12 years till gang stalkers ran us out. So I was a real estate agent, and I got my license in 1999, Nancy G. Fox Taylor. I sold our house in Valley Glen as a FSBO, for sale by owner. I learned a lot about real estate by searching for our own house in the Canal Valley for about a year, and then I studied with two real estate agents. The year I was studying for my real estate test, and so I had a year under my belt, they call it, real estate experience before I got my license. So I jumped right in with both feet, sold 5 homes my first year, and I made a good living as a real estate agent and provided well for my daughters as a single mother. So I'm just explaining my life was wonderful till gang stalkers swarmed around. And I would just follow the principles in AA, do the footwork, do what's in front of me, birds in the hand, focus on the buyers and sellers I had, and I'd sell homes and make money. And I'd be happy. They love their house, and I'm a sincere, honest, loyal person, and I'd try to do the best job I could for my buyers and sellers. So I had an all referral business, and that is when you do a great job for your buyers and sellers and they refer you. And I was in the top 100 selling agents. I was also selling estates in many estate neighborhoods. I was turning into more of an estate agent, but I sold average price homes mostly that were at that time 800,000 and 900,000 and 750 and mostly that's what I sold. And then I sold many homes from 1 to 4 million, probably 10 top 100 agents. Not to brag, I never even mentioned it. It was in the paper, LA Times newspaper. The point is, I was planting seeds, doing the footwork, doing what's in front of me, birds in their hand, and turn it over to God. God provided by the work I did. Money always flowed in by the work I had done till Gang Stalkers swarmed. So everything was just great. Wonderful, serene, blissful, and happy, and I felt happy, joyous, and free. And in February 2005, I had an AA party to celebrate my longtime sobriety. I was starting my 20th year sober, February '05. And there I was, feeling on top of the world. I'd lost weight on a low-carb diet. I bought new clothes that were my regular size that I was in my 20s, which is a size 2 or 4, as I had about 25 pounds to lose. So I lost the weight and started the diet in '04. I wrote a screenplay in '04, Angels Anonymous. So here I am following my dreams, accomplishing my goals I'd set out years earlier. As at 18, I decided I want to be a screenplay writer. And I wrote a spiritual, metaphysical screenplay called Angels Anonymous. And so that was years of studying to be a screenplay writer, to sit down and write a screenplay on final draft. And I did that in '04. And so here I was feeling on top of the world. I wrote a screenplay, lost weight on a diet, and in my 20th year sober, and so everything's going great. I made 140,000 in '04 selling homes, 150,000 '05 selling 7 properties, and so here I'm prosperous, spiritual, happy, joyous, free, lost weight. Everything's great. Wrote a screenplay, and feeling just so wonderful. And '05 when the stalkers came to ruin it all. And here's years of work that led up to writing a screenplay, to starting my 20th year sobriety, February '05, and just, I also decided, in '04, I decided '05's the year I'm selling and buying. And for 4 years before then, I was shopping for a 1-story adobe clay tile roof, a house that had a spiritual ambiance, that felt serene, since I'm a long-time sober AA lady. So I wanted a house with a spiritual ambiance that felt serene and felt like a writer's retreat, to write screenplays, song lyrics, and poems, and to sell many homes and estates from. And for my mother to live with us in a 1-story, she told me she wanted to do that in 2001. And so I shopped for the house 4 years, and I sold and bought in '05. So here I am accomplishing that goal and all my dreams and plans. Screenplay writer retreat, house with a spiritual ambiance for my family, and making all my dreams come true, accomplishing the goals I set out to do. And then that's when the stalkers swarmed around and ruined everything I worked so hard for. And so I decided in '04, I'm selling and buying in '05, as I'd written many offers for 4 years before then. And I decided I'm going to finish off the 2-story house, carpet, paint, tile, get ready to list and sell and buy another house. So I did a off-white Italian flat glazed tile in the kitchen that looked beautiful, looked spiritual, and off-white paint, smooth ceilings or a pale yellow paint, and a neutral carpet. And the house was neutral, shabby chic slipcovers, and I had a fountain and wrought iron in the formal dining room, and it felt spiritual, and it was a shabby chic decorating theme, and muted colors. And anyway, um, so I got the house all ready to list and sell with neutral colors, and I grew a wisteria over the patio cover and planted hydrangeas out front myself. And I'm just explaining that I made the house feel spiritual, and just felt nice, you could say. Anyway, well, so I had a long time sober AA party right after the house was done with the spiritual looking tile, carpet paint, and decided I should have an AA party with the house looking good before I list it and sell it. And so I had a small group of friends to our party, had Maria's Kitchen, a backyard daytime party, and I wore a Free People a sweater, light blue spiritual mystic guru looking sweater after the diet, losing about 20 pounds, and and that's what I bought, a Free People sweater, because being happy, joyous, free, spiritual, and long time sober, I bought a Free People spiritual mystic guru looking sweater, light blue with like buttons and things on it, and Free People is a spiritual guru brand, and that's what I was attracted to. That's the mode I was in, spiritual guru mode, long time sober party, and lost weight on a diet, and getting back to myself, and just being myself, Nancy Fox. So turning everything over to God, and working, selling homes and estates, money'd flow in, being prosperous, and everything was great, good, and wonderful. And then the stalkers swarmed that year and ruined it all. And that's why I'm telling the story. It was right when I reached this spiritual plateau, and right when I found a one-story house with a spiritual ambiance with oak trees and church bells chiming, covered hacienda porch, exactly, and an adobe clay tile roof, exactly what I was looking for. Dream came true. Accomplished the goal. Found the kind of house I wanted. It was beyond perfect, because it felt so spiritual, and I felt so serene there, being a long-time sober lady, and it was a perfect floor plan for my family. Felt like a screenplay writer's retreat, song lyric writer, poet, and so I was playing guitar there, and so was my younger daughter, and it just felt like that kind of spiritual guru ambiance. I also started channeling on my angel board there in the formal dining room, and suddenly, well, the minute I walked in, it heightened my psychic ability. I felt so psychic and so intuitive just stepping in the doorway. The minute my older daughter and I stepped in the open house, the church bells chimed from across the street. I felt chills, the hair went up on my arms. I was like, oh my God, this feels so spiritual. And it just instantly heightened my psychic ability, the house. And I said, I'm buying the house, I already know. I'm writing an offer. I don't even have to look around. The minute I walked in the door. Of course, I had studied it on the MLS when it was first listed in April '05, so I already knew the square footage, I already knew the lot size, I already knew the location, I already knew the price per square foot and 3-car garage, and I already knew all about the house from reading about it, but I had not seen the inside. The inside pictures were not on the MLS, but I had dreams of the inside before I saw the house, as I have psychic premonition dreams of things before they happen. And I had several dreams about the house before we walked in the open house in the middle of May 2005. And I dreamed my older daughter and I parked on the street in my Toyota Highlander, parked on a wide street, and when I opened my car door, I looked out and there was a horse crossing sign on the corner. So lo and behold, that happened exactly as I had dreamt, like a month before then. And it happened just like that. And that's a fact. And I don't lie. So if that's what I say happened, that's what happened. Because I have accurate psychic premonition dreams of things before they happen and things while they happen. And the house came back on the market on the MLS, because I was a real estate agent searching the MLS every day, 4 to 7 a.m. for buyers, sellers, and myself. It was back on the market middle of May '05. And then we dropped my younger daughter off at school. My older daughter and I were driving down the street, saw an open house sign. And I said, I bet that's a house I want to see, having an open house. So we turned the corner, another open house sign, lo and behold, it was a house. I parked in front of it, opened my door, looked out, horse crossing sign on the corner. And I told my daughter, I said, oh my God, I dreamt this happened exactly. I dreamt we parked on a wide street. I opened my car door, and there was a horse crossing sign on the corner. Then, going in the house, I realized I'd had another dream. I had dreamt I was going down the hallway, looked to the right, and there was a bedroom. Came to be my daughter's bedroom. Went down the hallway in the dream, looked to the left. There was another bedroom. Came to be my older daughter's bedroom. So I already had that dream about the inside of the house. And that's a fact. And I also dreamt we were there during the escrow, standing around, and somebody ran out the sliders to the hacienda porch and down the driveway. And that happened. So I had 3 dreams of things before they happened about the house. And lo and behold, I knew I'm supposed to buy this house. I had 3 dreams about it. Well, I knew I had to buy it the minute I walked in the door. I said, God will support me living in this house, because everything is meant to be. I had 3 dreams about it before I saw it. And back on the market, open house signs, walked in, and everything. Church bells chimed, and I wrote a full price offer, non-contingent, in my car, handed it in right then and there, went home, faxed it to my mortgage brokers from our 2-story house, faxed me a loan approval letter. Offer accepted, open escrow, 30 days. Voila. And when things happen easily and swiftly and all flow into place, in AA they say that's God's will. And if you have to push and force and try to make something happen that's not happening, and you're sweating and all of that, that's called self-will. Okay, this was God's will. This happened easily and swiftly. And it just all flowed into place magically, perfectly. And I knew it's meant to be, it's God's will that I buy this house for my family. I knew it without a shadow of a doubt. And I wanted a large bedroom for my younger daughter, and her bedroom was as big as my master, because at our 2-story she had a small bedroom and a small playroom, and she was soon starting middle school. So I wanted her to have a large bedroom, and my other daughter's bedroom was large. It was the same size as the 2-story, and that bedroom was the same as my master there. So they had good-sized bedrooms, huge bathroom, double sinks, lots of storage, perfect for my daughters for teenage, young adult years, and perfect 1-story for my mother. And she saw it during escrow and loved the house and was very just thrilled over it. And my mother said, I want to go on the house with you. So I called the mortgage brokers, Sharon and Brad Pfeiffer, Regency Brokerage, and they said, great, if your mom goes on the house, that'll save you, with her assets only, that'll save you $330 a month on your payment. So my mom drove home to Sherman Oaks,